All right, let's pull back the curtain on something we all experience but probably never think about, the invisible logistics of the service world. We're going to dive into the really smart choices that decide exactly how and where you get everything from a haircut to access to your bank account.
I mean, think about it. It's a simple question, right? But the answer tells you so much. Why does one service come right to your doorstep, hot and ready, while another makes you get in the car and drive across town? You might think it's just random, but trust me, it's anything but. It is all part of a very deliberate plan.
In the world of business, this whole puzzle is called a place decision, and it's all about distribution. So what's the goal? Well, it's pretty simple. Make services as easy and convenient to get as possible for you, the customer. But how companies pull that off? Well, that depends entirely on what kind of service they're selling. Okay, so how does this all actually work in the real world? It really helps to break it all down into 3 basic models of service delivery. This simple framework, it pretty much explains every single service transaction you can possibly think of.
And believe it or not, that's really it. It all boils down to just these 3 options. Either you travel to a physical spot, the provider packs up and comes to your location, or the whole thing happens remotely, where neither of you has to go anywhere at all. So let's break each one down.
Let's kick things off with the most traditional model. You go to the service. For things like movie theaters or hospitals, the physical location is the service. You can't exactly mail someone a surgical operation, right? These services need you to be physically there to interact with the people, the equipment, and the whole environment. Now let's totally flip the script. In this mode, the service itself is mobile. The provider literally packs up their tools, their equipment, their expertise, and they bring it all to you. The real value here is bringing that service directly to where the customer actually needs it. And this brings us to the one that technology has made so common. Here, there's absolutely no face-to-face contact needed. Think about it. Information-based services, like booking a flight or managing your bank account, can be delivered instantly and remotely, anytime, anywhere. Okay, so now we know the 3 main ways services get to us. But how does a business actually choose which one to use? Well, this is where the strategy really comes into play. They have to ask some pretty critical questions to figure out the perfect model for their business.
So the first big question is all about convenience versus reputation. For a fast food joint, being on a busy corner, that's everything. If it's a hassle to get to, you'll just go somewhere else. But what about a world-renowned surgeon? You'd fly across the country for them because their expertise is the destination, not the building they happen to be in.
Next up, a business has to think about flexibility. Is the service tied to some huge, immovable piece of equipment, or is it delivered by skilled people? You see, you can move a person and their tools way more easily than you can move an entire hospital wing, and you can do it without losing any quality in the service. And finally, businesses have to make a huge call. Who actually interacts with the customer? Should they keep total control by selling directly? Or should they team up with intermediaries, middlemen, to get their service out to more people? This one choice leads to completely different strategies. And these choices lead to 3 main strategies. First is extensive distribution. Think of a bank that wants its ATMs, apps, and branches everywhere to be as available as possible. Then you've got selective, which is more targeted, like a cinema chain that only puts theaters in really busy shopping malls. And finally, there's exclusive distribution, which is for those highly specialized services that become a unique destination customers have to hunt down. So let's dig a little deeper into that idea of using middlemen, or what businesses call distribution channels. It's a fancy term for a simple idea. It's just the path a service takes to get from the company to you. And there are really 2 main options. And this brings us to a huge trade-off. If a company goes direct, they get total control over the experience and they hear your feedback right away. But that can limit how many people they can reach. On the other hand, using intermediaries like agents or franchisees lets them grow super fast, but it means giving up some of that precious control. And here are some examples you see every single day. A company's own website or their mobile app, that's a direct channel. But when you walk into a McDonald's, you're almost always dealing with a franchisee. That's an intermediary. Same thing with an independent insurance agent who sells policies from a bunch of different companies. They are the channel. Let's zoom in on franchising for a second, because it is one of the most powerful intermediary models in the world. Basically, a successful business licenses its entire playbook, its brand name, its processes, its products, to a local owner. That owner then runs the business exactly according to those proven rules. So why is franchising so popular?
Well, the benefits are massive. It allows for explosive growth because the main company isn't paying for every new location. And maybe the biggest reason of all? You get a committed local owner with their own money on the line. They are deeply personally invested in making that one single location a huge success.
Another model you see absolutely everywhere is called quasi-retailing. It sounds complicated, but it's a really simple idea. It's just a service business that looks and feels like a regular retail shop. You walk into a physical storefront, like a bank branch or a hair salon, to buy a service instead of a physical product.
So, we've looked at the different models, the strategic questions, and the types of channels. The final piece of this whole puzzle is how modern businesses pull all of these ideas together to create a system that's actually effective and lets them compete.
The reality today is that most businesses don't just pick one way to reach you. They use a strategy called multi-marketing. Just think about your bank. You can walk into a physical branch, that's quasi-retailing. You can use an ATM, that's a direct electronic channel. Or you can use their mobile app, another direct remote channel. They serve you through all these different avenues to be as accessible as humanly possible.
So here's a final thought I want to leave you with. The next time you get a haircut, or order some food for delivery, or book a flight online, just pause for a second and think about the place decision behind it. How did that service actually get to you? Was it direct? Did it come through an intermediary? And what does that choice really tell you about that company's priorities? Is it all about control, convenience, reaching as many people as possible? Once you start looking for it, I promise, you'll see these strategies everywhere.